Hi, this is Daryl Maya from Keller, Texas. I want to talk to you today about America's most biblically hostile U.S. president ever, with election season in full swing right now. Several Republicans trying to be the nominee for the Republican bid for president. I want to try to see if I can help shed a little light on Mr. Obama and his administration. And before I get started, I want to make sure you understand. This has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with party, Democrat, Republican. I could care less. I have voted for either and both in the past. This has everything to do with this man's actions. You know, Jesus told us, you will know them by their fruits. Not by what they say, but what they do to show who they are and what they believe. So let's talk about this. Could Obama be America's most biblically hostile U.S. president ever? Well, when you look at President Obama's unwillingness to accommodate America's 4-century-long religious conscience protection through his attempts to require Catholics to go against their own doctrines and beliefs, one is tempted to say that he's anti-Catholic. But that characterization wouldn't be entirely correct. And although he's recently singled out Catholics, he has equally targeted Protestant beliefs over the past 4 years. So since he's attacked Catholics and Protestants, one is tempted to say that he is anti-Christian. But that too would fall short and be inaccurate. He's been equally disrespectful in his appalling treatment of religious Jews in general and Israel in particular. So perhaps the most accurate description of his antipathy toward Catholics, Protestants, religious Jews, and the Jewish nation would be to characterize him as anti-biblical. And then when his hostility toward biblical people of faith is contrasted with his preferential treatment of Muslims and Muslim nations, it further strengthens the accuracy of his anti-biblical descriptor. I've seen videos of him mocking the Bible, praising the Holy Quran, and the call to worship, the call to prayers is the most beautiful sound he's ever heard. So, there's been numerous times clearly documented when his pro-Islam positions have been the cause of his anti-biblical actions. So I'm going to list in chronological order numerous records of his attacks on biblical persons or organizations. Then we're going to talk about examples of the hostility toward biblical faith that had become very evident in the past 3 years in the Obama-led military. Then we'll talk about the listing of his open attacks on biblical values. And then finally we're going to talk about a listing of numerous incidents of his preferential deference for Islam's activities and positions, including letting his Islamic advisors guide and influence his hostility toward people of biblical faith. So let's first look at acts of hostility toward people of biblical faith. April 2008. Obama speaks disrespectfully of Christians, saying they cling to guns or religion and have an antipathy to people who aren't like them. Okay, but let me just explain. At least we don't kill people who aren't like us, like the Muslim faith does. February 2009, Obama announces plans to revoke conscience protection for health workers who refuse to participate in medical activities that go against their beliefs, and fully implements the plan in February 2011. April 2009, when speaking at Georgetown University, Obama orders that a monogram symbolizing Jesus' name be covered when he's making a speech. May 2009, Obama declines to host services for the National Day of Prayer, a day established by federal law at the White House. April 2009, in a deliberate act of disrespect, Obama nominated 3 pro-abortion ambassadors to the Vatican. Of course, the pro-life Vatican rejected all 3. October 19, 2010, Obama begins deliberately omitting the phrase about the Creator when quoting the Declaration of Independence, an omission he has made on no less than 7 occasions. Again, let me point out, I'm not bashing on him because of his race. I'm not bashing on him because he's a Democrat. trying to help you see what this man is doing. I don't care if he was red, white, black, blue, purple, green, yellow, orange. Don't care what color he is. My best friend in the whole world is just like Obama. He's half black and half white. And he's been my best friend for about 32 years now. I'm not a racist. I love all people. We all have red blood. Okay? It's nothing about race. I'm trying to help you see what this man's doing to this country. November 2010, Obama misquotes the national motto, saying it is E pluribus unum, when we all know it's in God we trust and it's been established by federal law. Of course, don't think Obama knows a lot of the federal laws or our Constitution. January 2011, after a federal law was passed to transfer a World War I memorial in the Mojave Desert to private ownership, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the cross in the memorial could continue to stand, but the Obama administration refused to allow the land to be transferred as required by law and refused to allow the cross to be re-erected as ordered by the court. February 2011, although he filled posts in the State Department for more than 2 years, Obama did not fill the post of Religious Freedom Ambassador, an official that works against religious persecution across the world. He filled it only after heavy pressure from the public and from Congress. You will know them by their fruits. April 2011, for the first time in American history, first time ever in American history, Obama urges passage of a non-discrimination law that does not contain hiring protections for religious groups, forcing religious organizations to hire according to federal mandates without regard to the dictates of their own faith, thus eliminating conscious protection in hiring. First time ever. August 2011, the Obama administration releases its new health care rules that override religious conscience protections for medical workers in the areas of abortion and contraception. November 2011, Obama opposes inclusion of President Franklin Roosevelt's famous D-Day prayer in the World War II memorial. When he finishes with, "So help us God," that part's not in there. Check all this out. I would not be telling you this if it weren't true. You can Google it, go to Snopes, whatever. November 2011. Unlike previous presidents, Obama studiously avoids any religious references in his Thanksgiving speech. December 2011. The Obama administration denigrates other countries' religious beliefs as an obstacle to radical homosexual rights. January 2012, the Obama administration urges that the First Amendment provides no protection for churches and synagogues in hiring their pastors and rabbis. February 2012, the Obama administration forgives student loans in exchange for public service, but announces it will no longer forgive student loans if the public service is related to religion. Okay, let's talk about acts of hostility from the Obama-led military toward people of faith. June 2011. The Department of Veterans Affairs forbids references to God and Jesus during burial ceremonies at Houston National Cemetery. No God, no Jesus in a burial cemetery ceremony? Really? Why? What do you have against it, Mr. Obama? Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, our Muslim socialist president? August 2011, the Air Force stops teaching the just war theory to officers in California because the course is taught by chaplains and is based on a philosophy introduced by St. Augustine in the 3rd century AD, a theory long taught by civilized nations across the world except America. September 2011, Air Force Chief of Staff prohibits commanders from notifying airmen of programs and services available to them from chaplains. Also in September 2011, the Army issues guidelines for Walter Reed Medical Center stipulating that no religious items, Bibles, reading materials, tracts, are allowed to be given away or used during a visit. November 2011, the Air Force Academy rescinds support for Operation Christmas Child, a program to send holiday gifts to impoverished children across the world because the program is run by a Christian charity. You will know them by their fruits. November 2011, the Air Force Academy pays $80,000 to add a Stonehenge-like worship center for pagans, druids, witches, and Wiccans. But heaven forbid you have a Bible and say the name Jesus. February 2012, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point disinvites 3-star Army General and decorated war hero Lieutenant General William G. Jerry Boykin, retired, from speaking at an event because he's an outspoken Christian. February 2012, the Air Force removes God from the patch of the Rapid Capabilities Office. The word on the patch was in Latin, Dei, D-E-I. February 2012, the Army orders Catholic chaplains not to read a letter to parishioners that their Archbishop asked them to read. Okay, let's talk about his acts of hostility toward biblical values. January 29, Obama lifts restrictions on U.S. government funding for groups that provide abortion services or counseling abroad, forcing taxpayers to fund pro-abortion groups that either promote or perform abortions in other nations. And let's not forget about his health care plan that's currently in the Supreme Court that forces everyone to pay for federally funded abortions. January 29, President Obama's nominee for Deputy Secretary of State asserts that American taxpayers are required to pay for abortions and that limits on abortion funding are unconstitutional. March 2009, the Obama administration shut out pro-life groups from attending a White House-sponsored healthcare summit. Also, Obama orders taxpayer funding of embryonic stem cells research. Same month, Obama gave $50 million for the UNFPA, the UN population agency that promotes abortion and works closely with Chinese population control officials who use forced abortions and involuntary sterilizations. May 2009, the White House budget eliminates all funding for abstinence-only education and replaces it with comprehensive sexual education, repeatedly proven to increase teen pregnancies and abortions. He continues the deletion in subsequent budgets. May 2009, Obama officials assemble a terrorism dictionary calling pro-life activists violent and charging that they use racism in their criminal activities. July 2009, the Obama administration illegally extends federal benefits to same-sex partners of foreign service and executive branch employees in direct violation of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. September 16, 2009, the Obama administration appoints as EEOC Commissioner Kai Feldblum, who asserts that society should not tolerate any private beliefs, including religious beliefs, if they may negatively affect homosexual equality. July 2010, the Obama administration uses federal funds in violation of federal law to get Kenya to change its constitution to include abortion. August 2010, the Obama administration cuts funding for 176 abstinence education programs. September 2010, the Obama administration tells researchers to ignore a judge's decision striking down federal funding for embryonic stem cell research. February 2011, Obama directs the Justice Department to stop defending the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. March 2011, the Obama administration refuses to investigate videos showing Planned Parenthood helping alleged sex traffickers get abortions for victimized underage girls. July 2011, Obama allows homosexuals to serve openly in the military, reversing a policy originally instituted by George Washington in March 1778. Wow. September 2011, the Pentagon directs that military chaplains may perform same-sex marriages at military facilities in violation of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. October 2011, the Obama administration eliminates federal grants to the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops for their extensive programs that aid victims of human trafficking because the Catholic Church is anti-abortion. Okay, here's some acts of preferential treatment for Islam. May 2009, while Obama does not host any National Day of Prayer event at the White House, he does host White House iftar dinners in honor of Ramadan. April 2010, Christian leader Franklin Graham is disinvited from the Pentagon's National Day of Prayer event because of complaints from the Muslim community. April 2010, the Obama administration requires rewriting of government documents and a change in administration vocabulary to remove terms that are deemed offensive to Muslims, including jihad, jihadist, terrorist, radical Islamists, and others. August 2010, Obama speaks with great praise of Islam and condescendingly of Christianity. "You will know them by their fruits," Jesus said. August 2010, Obama went to great lengths to speak out on multiple occasions on behalf of building an Islamic mosque at Ground Zero, while at the same time he was silent about a Christian church being denied permission to rebuild at that same location. 2010, while every White House traditionally issues hundreds of official proclamations and statements on numerous occasions, this White House avoids traditional biblical holidays and events but regularly recognizes major Muslim holidays, as evidenced by its 2010 statements on Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, Hajj, and Eid al-Adha. I may have mispronounced those, not familiar with the Muslim holidays. October 2011, Obama's Muslim advisors block Middle Eastern Christians access to the White House. February 2012, the Obama administration makes apologies for Qurans being burned by the U.S. military. But there were Bibles burned at the same time by the military, and there were numerous reasons offered why it was the right thing to do. "Oh, we're so sorry for all the Qurans we burned, but yeah, those Bibles, we had to do it, because it's the right thing to do." Really? It's okay with burning Bibles. Didn't apologize to any Christians. But boy, burn a Quran? Oh, I apologize to all my Muslim brothers. A lot of these actions are literally unprecedented. First time they've ever happened in 4 centuries of American history. The hostility of President Obama toward biblical faith and values is without equal from any previous president in this country. When Jesus said we would know them by their fruits, and that lawlessness and godlessness would abound in the end times, and that people would turn away from the truth and turn to fables, and turn to just what their itching ears want to hear, this is what he was talking about. Here is something that just happened today, to give you an idea of the Obama administration. They refused to state that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Official department spokesman Victoria Nuland repeatedly refused to state that the Obama administration recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel. It has been their eternal capital. It's always been the capital of Israel. Only because of fear of offending the Muslim people, our presidents will not put our American embassy in Jerusalem, but in Tel Aviv, which is what the world recognizes as the capital of Israel. But you ask any Jew or any Israeli what the capital is, they'll tell you it's Jerusalem. Benjamin Netanyahu has said many times, referring to Jerusalem as our eternal, undivided capital. Yet the Obama administration says we're not going to prejudge the outcome of these negotiations, including the final status of Jerusalem. In other words, all of Jerusalem is up for grabs in the eyes of the Obama administration. They will gladly hand it over to the Palestinians and the Muslims, even though they have no right to be there. It's not theirs. It belongs to God's people, the chosen, the Jewish people. There's a reason the Bible says that God will fight against every nation that fights against Jerusalem. And this president is doing to tell us he's a Christian, yet all his actions show us he's not, that he is a Muslim. And there's a thing in Islam called taqiyya that says it's okay to lie to non-Muslims to advance your agenda. And he has pulled this card so many times. Anyway, I hope you'll make the right choice when it comes to casting your vote this November. I don't think America or Israel can afford another 4 years of this man. Not that we have too many better selections to choose from. Why is that? Why do we always only end up with 2 people to choose from for the President of the United States, yet we choose from 50 people for Miss America? Seems we have our priorities a little backwards. Just saying. Anyway, God bless you guys. Good Lord willing, I'll see you again tomorrow.